Hello, I'm Penny Haslam, and recently I spoke to actor and comedian Chris Barrie, who's reading the Red Dwarf novels in Sunday Night's Comedy Club right here on 7. I asked him about the history of Red Dwarf on TV.
We had 8 series on the BBC Two, from 1988 transmission until 1999. And recently, of course, we've had our Easter special, which was Back to Earth. And, you know, as I speak now, we may well be winding up to do some more in 2010, but I can't confirm that just yet.
Well, that was interesting because Crichton, a.k.a. Robert Llewellyn, tweeted that some scripts have been commissioned.
He's not still tweeting, is he?
Apparently.
I told him to give up all that.
I'm following him.
How does he get the time? I know he's a busy man, you know?
So anyway, he's kind of giving the game away.
I have learnt through decades now of working on Red Dwarf not to, anything that I know, sort of basically take it down about 5 grades.
Because there was going to be a film.
Yeah. So many times fans have said, when's the film, you know? To do Red Dwarf and Britus sort of side by side, really, from, 91 through to 97, 98, was a great thrill. And it was, when I think back on it, you kind of think it's never going to end. You just keep on going, and then suddenly you start to realise, maybe it is going to end. And you say, let's really enjoy these bits towards the end here, sort of thing. But Red Dwarf, of course, hasn't ended. And, of course, as soon as Red Dwarf was back on earlier this year, we get a few little vibes coming up saying, what about the British Empire? And
what about the British Empire?
Do you know, one of the things I always remember Mike Stevens, the producer and director, saying, maybe one day when we're all 10 years older, when Mr. Britus is 50, we'll get together again on a cruise ship or something. And I'm thinking, well, next year I'm 50. We'll just have to see if that phone rings.
The books, Red Dwarf, Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers, and Better Than Life, you're reading them on Radio 7. Tell me about those.
For me, that was a great opportunity to have fun in a kind of different direction with a product that I knew. You know, I can remember sitting on a beach in France somewhere, sort of just guffawing to myself at some of the dialogue and some of the, you know, the descriptions in the book. And the other weird thing was you're reading about yourself. You know, you're reading about, because some of the books were written once the casting had taken place, and yeah, I'm reading about myself there that they've obviously are using to describe Rimmer. So that was quite buttock clenching momentarily, actually, if I'm honest. There was one description in the book which sort of said Rimmer tried to feel for his enlarging bald patch, all this kind of stuff. And I was running around the hotel saying to my girlfriend at the time, you know, what's his bald patch? Is it really that bad? You know, she was obviously lying, so yeah, it's okay. What we can do on television with the time and the constraints and the sort of remit is quite small relative to what you can do with a book, you know, because you're asking a reader just, it's the imagination. And for me, it was a great opportunity to have fun with all that. You know, my fun with impersonations that I'd had on Spitting Image and before, and I've always enjoyed doing voices and stuff. And it gave me an opportunity to, you know, lots of blank canvases in which to sort of stamp my own ideas for the character, plus the given characters of the other main cast in Red Dwarf. So for me, it was just like a creative adventure that I couldn't turn down.